ByuN and Solar in the best of 3 round of 8 of our WardiTV 2021 qualifier. Top 3 qualifier today, so the winner of this is in a qualifying match, and if you lose that qualified match, you basically get a second chance in the 3rd place match. The qualifier itself also worth $200, so these guys will walk away with a little bit of prize money just for being round of 8 as well. As the bottom left side, our red Terran player is ByuN. And in the upper right hand side, our blue Zerg player is Solar. Alrighty, so as we get this up and get this rolling, and we see what's going to happen. So I want to just introduce you guys to the battle report, right? So I know a lot of people obviously know what this is because you actually watch TSL 6 because you're not silly and you watch amazing tournaments. But this thing is actually pretty cool. So because we've actually hosted on this mod, so I'm not in the habit of hosting on this mod, which is the issue. But now that we're on it, maybe we'll try and remember to use it. This basically a breakdown of everything that happens during fights, and so it's a really cool way to kind of, you know, recap a fight and be like, oh my god, like he lost so much gas in this fight or something, right? So yeah, kind of a cool new feature designed by nice username Joey, a good friend to us all in the StarCraft community, and it was initially sponsored by Shopify to get this made, so hell yeah to that. As I will say, right, maybe I'm crazy, but I really don't feel like that. I'm going to be very pedantic right now, guys. But I really feel like this is not a straight... I feel like this is not in the middle of the screen. There's like a line down here, like this middle bit is not like centralized between the boxes down here. And I see it now. These boxes need to move to the right. There's a smaller gap here than there is over here. Oh my god, I've triggered myself. Oh no, I can't unsee. Ah! Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. We won't realize that when there's cool information to read. I'm sorry, chat. Now everyone's like, I can't unsee it. No, me neither. Oh no, all of us together, guys. All of us together. God damn it. Joey's like, you know what, Wardy? First time you use the Observer Plus in your stream, and all you can do is criticize, huh? All you can do is find out that it's not centered, huh? There's a 2-1-1 from ByuN. We obviously saw ByuN really was one of the reasons we brought back a lot of the 2-1-1 builds and those sort of aggressive plays. So yeah, kind of a cool way to get this going. And as we do just open reactor first as well. So this variation of the 2-1-1, skipping the Reaper kind of speeds things up just a little bit. Everything's at 50 gas, you know, faster, 50 gas further along. So yeah, it's one of those scenarios where you really do just power this up a little bit more quickly. And that's one of the reasons why ByuN had a lot of success with this 2-1-1 build order, because he actually had a few different variations that he pulled out. Sometimes he went command center first, sometimes he went, you know, this just straight into reactor setup. And just in general, he went in with a whole bunch of different styles and comes out with just a whole bunch of different ways to set this up. And what's going to happen here is he's going to have more than 60 Marines. I wonder if this actually was CC first, and I'm just busy telling you guys a story about Battle Report that I didn't notice it. But I think it is, because he's going to be on more than 60 Marines. The Medevac's not going to line up with the reactor either. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, it's also basically you kind of get just a few more Marines than usual. Usually this Medevac is meant to come out as 2 in total, though. There's not a build where there's just meant to be 1. So I think that's ByuN just missing the reactor for a little bit initially. And so we are just going to lift up that starport, put it on the reactor. And yeah, first Medevac coming over. There's only 1 Marine behind this wall off. Solar, knowing the opportunity he has here, is that's going to be a dead depot. And SCV is going to have to pull into fight, and ByuN is going to go back home. He's already losing SCV, so that's 5, 6, 7 workers killed, 8 workers killed. So a lot of workers going down, 9. And ooh, that 1 Ling just escapes into the main. But this is fantastic start from Solar. This is the kind of damage that you're not really meant to recover from as ByuN. That's a lot of losses early in the game. And you slow down the attack because now ByuN's not continuing to march to the 3rd. Instead, he pulled back home. That is just almost game-ending already. Now, I'm not going to say it's truly game-ending because it's ByuN and we know what he can do with fantastic micro ability, but It's definitely a scary position to be in. This is not where you want to be at all as Solo. This is absolutely, you know, worry town. As a few Marines dealing some damage to Lings. Queen's going to push out a creep tumor out over the right. We're going to see more Marines and medevacs making their way up to the top. And there's medevac of ByuN moving into the center as well. So all of this continuing to join together. So here we go. Our Marines coming through, and just going to be seeing our Lings going out over the left-hand side. And just going to be seeing our Lings in a bit of trouble, though. I mean, the Baneling not ready. The Queen count is... This is the problem, right? This is pure Ling Queen against what is more Marines than usual, and that's going to be a big problem. I can't believe Solo's sending Lings across the map. He wanted to rely on these Banelings, which are now starting to connect. They do get there. He'll defend in the end as the Lings do turn around. And ByuN is in just still a lot of trouble. Losing SCVs like that early. It's just a big mistake, right? He gets greedy. He sends everything across. Solo comes in with those Lings. It's a good play by Solo that punishes exactly what ByuN is trying to do. Medevacs lift up, and ByuN will back away over to the right-hand side. Baneling speed on the way up. Carapace finishing, and now the melee upgrade coming through from Solo 2. I was just going to be seeing a little bit of Ling Bane coming across to defend a fourth base position. I would say, honestly, I was impressed what ByuN was able to do initially, and yeah, I mean, that works. But yeah, I feel like maybe we should have looked at the battle reports actually after this fight over here, but I feel like he actually traded pretty well as now he's got these medevacs trying to find a little bit more. He is going to go in and save those Marines that were camped out. He does have a third CC moving out as well. And ByuN just going to go into tank production for the future. Is he going to stay on tanks? Looks like he might just stay on tanks, which is actually not a bad decision because Solo goes into a Hydra Den. So no Spire. Tanks are probably the best way to go then, and that will help to fend off a lurker transition as well, if that's what else we're going to be seeing. Marines are going to stim on through to this. I'm just going to be seeing a few creep tumors being picked away at. Another Ling counterattack coming in. It's just going to go straight on through the Ling counters. Just ByuN not dealing with these well at all at the moment. I think it's going to get up this ram tank and more Marines going down. SCVs continuing to drop here. On the right side, some Marines are going to stim through and going to find some Lings that are running forward. It's going to be seeing 9 SCVs getting taken down. And again, just run by after run by is a disaster at the moment. But ByuN, he just can't really stabilize it all. So having problems for sure. Lurker Den's about to be finished. This is the issue. You're not really able to put the right amount of pressure on before Lurkers are up. So you basically get straight up to Lurkers here as Solo. And getting straight up to Lurkers is pretty good. It's pretty nice. Lane's trying to move forward there. Tank shot is good across onto those Zerglings too. Now 2 medevacs of ByuN going to move out of the way to the left-hand side. So they're going to go boosting over, and just going to be seeing our Zerglings hanging out on the bottom. Yeah, and the Ling Bane here just joining up, moving around. Extra Banelings already morphing in from Solar as well, as our medevac's going to go through the top left-hand corner. Marines show up, and that's a cancel on this hatchery. Medevac shot down. It's been low HP for a while, so it was bound to happen. And ByuN knows he's in some trouble. He knows he needs to make something happen, and hence why he's continuing to drop around the map at the moment. So, dropping in, a few drones going down. I actually find the missile upgrade, which is... Oh, it's a good pickoff, right? It's always going to be nice to slow down an upgrade. Anything to depower the Lurkers and the Hydras is going to be a positive on my side. So, yep, I mean, obviously trying to deny this 5th base as well. And Marines obviously may actually still get this. The Queens had the Marines low. Yeah, obviously you can't transfuse a building that's still building, right? So The queens there are really only going to be able to kill those marines, and the hatchery cancels twice, so not bad, as ByuN's going to clean creep top left-hand side. What's his game plan, though? I mean, at some point here, ByuN's got to make a move out, right? Something bigger than what he's been going for? I mean, maybe not, because he's up against Vipers. Maybe the way to play this is to just camp out, let your opponent attack into you, and just play the drops to try and slow Solar down. It's not like he's letting Solar just get away with the entirety of this game, right? He is slowing him down. He is slowing down the 5th. He's shutting down some creep. So there is some control of the game via the drops. And he's going to move out. I don't blame him for moving out, because I think it is sort of a push you should be making. I think the idea of just sitting back defensively, it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, but then what if the Zerg just doesn't attack into you? Then you actually do miss any chance of hitting this time. And there's no reason for Solar to attack into a defensive ByuN when he can just continue to take the map, even if there are drops and so on happening. He's coming back into the back of this mineral line, just going to go in after those lings. 5 drones going down. I'm just going to be seeing the medevac continue to boost across into the main base. Adrenal glands coming up. So, I mean, yeah, all the tools that you really need. Lurkers are still not on the map. Adaptive Talon's on the way. He only has 8 Hydras, by the way, so there's not a lot of Hydras to morph into Lurkers. It will get the job done. It's interesting that he's still kind of just building Lingbane. So he's kind of just looking to bust this initial fight with Lingbane, Hydra, Viper. These extra tanks need to siege up like right now. If ByuN actually sieges these tanks, someone might not recognize just how many tanks there are. And this might be a fight you can win as ByuN. There are tanks in the background that are still firing here, and these Banes are off creep. Yeah, it's a one fight for ByuN, I want to say. Let's have a look. So you can see Reese was destroyed is kind of even on either side. Yeah, it kind of is right now. ByuN's even getting more kills, so ByuN is going to just about win out that fight. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Like I say, these extra tanks in the back really felt like they were something Solar wasn't ready for. Like the first wave, sure. The second wave, not so much. Now only one Lurker morphing in. Another round of Banes that were not quite ready yet, so he had to wait a little while. And that's allowed ByuN to set up this position, but he had a flanking set of Banelings. And that's going to be a bit too much. Yeah, Solar just had a bit too much in the bank, didn't he? Resources lost isn't even bad for ByuN. It was a good fight. There was just no follow-up to it because of how the earlier game went, and Solar's going to clean on up and win game number 1 here. That first run by really defining the first. In the bottom right-hand side, our Blue Zerg player from KaiZ Gaming and taking the first game of this best of 3. Looking to get through to the qualifying round. This is Solar. Taking on the red Terran player in the top left corner of the map. It is ByuN for game number 2 of this best of 3. Da, 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 da. Wow. Overlord of Solar heading up to the upper side of the map. Hatchery down on the natural to get things going. So far, so good. Nothing really to talk about here, guys. Waiting for our setup to begin on Lightshade. It's just going to be a marine-based opener as well. It's funny, you know, ByuN just not really playing Reaper openings much at all any longer. It's really an opening which is taking a big backseat in his set of build orders. Definitely been some something he stepped away from, you know, heavily in recent times. Yeah, very, very interesting, very kind of unique, really. Some players have adopted it, but a lot of players are still kind of in this situation where they're like, well, a Reaper still provides us so much information. He's going to go double racks again, so it's very similar to the last game, right? And we'll see what changes he maybe makes. So, what happens is because Solar makes Lings, those Lings won't do anything if there's any amount of Marines behind the wall. But the moment there's no Marines behind the wall because they're on the map and they're moving out early, this depot gets broken down and then the Lings are just uncontrollable. It's the power of the Lings because you don't have Hellions as ByuN. What used to be popular against a 2-1-1 opening was Link Flood. When the Marines are kind of like 6 or 7 in number, you can come with like 16 to 18 Lings. And if you can just surround those Marines, the Terran's in a ton of trouble because then you just can't clean it up. You have nothing that's immediately just good and super microable against Lings at that stage because the Marines don't have stim, they're not in high enough numbers to avoid a surround. And that's why a lot of the time you would see the Marines rallied up to this depot like ByuN is doing now to keep them back and to keep them in a position where they can choke up against Lings that try to run through for a surround on them. It's the same sort of idea here, just less Lings at a later time, but more effective because of the way that ByuN plays it. And just really getting through in an unfortunate moment. And it's also because the Marines move out on the ground, right? If the Marines moved out in a medevac, they would have even made it back home sooner. But because the Marines on the ground, it's an extremely slow retreat from ByuN to come and defend his base. It's obviously part of the problem as 2 depots come up to the front. And Marines here do show up to push that Zergling of Solar back away through to the middle of the map. Alright, also stim pack ticking along. We've seen our 2 medevacs coming in. Solar only really, I mean, what Solar knows is that there was no Hellions, right? And the no Hellions is already a sign of what this is. I want to say ByuN learned from his mistakes, but he's doing the exact same thing. But there isn't actually Lings on the map to take advantage of it this time. He has learned from his mistakes. He's going to leave a few Marines behind the depot, so he will not lose in the same way. See, even this works, and you can see the difference here is that ByuN just actually has a couple of medevacs. He even made a single Hellion, so there are additions to the build, adjusting for what happened in that game number 1 so far. Marines on the Hellion gonna unload and gonna press forward, gonna stim through, and there's a couple creep trimmers already going down. Queen gets targeted right away as well as the Lings run through for the surround. First medevac gets shot down pretty much immediately. A lot of Lings do fall there. It's gonna be seeing ByuN. Losing the medevac really hurts because now he just has less healing, less power for the next phase of this. His extra units are about to arrive in medevac 2, medevac what would have been 3. Here it is coming in from the left-hand side. So a few extra Marines, we'll see if he can do much, but Banes are on the way, and it looks like the timings from Solar are working out. You get Banes up to deal with this kind of higher Marine count now. Kind of what we saw in the last game, just the Banes weren't immediately ready when those extra units of ByuN showed up, right? So this time around, it's a little bit smoother from ByuN and a bit smoother from Solar, actually. So yeah, it works out well for both of them. ByuN just going to back away. He has no real interest in actually fighting here, and because he's missing the medevac, he will lose a few Marines. Alone back to the middle of the map here, as we will see the Fling going to get picked off. Couple Marines there taking some damage. Gaining speed is on the way up from Solar, so getting that going. The evolution chamber in the back of the 3rd base from Solar as well. 4th hatchery is now coming up to the top right side, and our Marines are going to go up, and they're going to start to unload and aim for this hatch. So looking to go for this right now. Our Banes are morphing. Spires on the way through from Solar. The Marine's going to load back up into medevacs and back away through the top side. More Marine tank pressing across through the center. Lings are moving through the middle. goes down. A couple lings being picked off. Our Marines are going to get to work on these creep tumors. I mean, ByuN doing a good job making sure the counter-attack won't do anything and also still staying active. I mean, removing the creep gives him positions to push into later in this game. And as 1-1 is done, looks like we might see ByuN moving out with these couple of tanks. This position over here is a very popular one. You put a couple of tanks here and here, and then you've got coverage down this sort of area, so toward the edge of the creep. It just gives you that push in and pull back safety. So I imagine that's probably where we're headed to. And obviously the goal being if you can pick off the 4th base, that would be a major win. Even if you can just force a trade out right now, that would not be a bad way to get things going. You can see even just the creep clearing, right? It's going to make space for you later to come into this position more easily as you put damage on the hatch and that forces the lings to respond. Marines left on the tank, by the way, so responsible play from ByuN, who just says, right, well, I don't want to leave my tanks, set aside. Otherwise, these mutas, which we talked about the spy up coming up before, the muta's just going to clean me up. So, proper play from ByuN, but Solar now going to launch a counter. There's a lot of Marines over here, mind you. Plenty of Marines to turn that around, and I don't think ByuN necessarily realized it. Otherwise, he might have tried to make another play onto the onto this hatchery just while he knew, just while so much was across the map. Oh, Solar takes a step away from the hatch. He does have transfusions. He will heal that back up pretty quickly. Good target fire, taking the Banelings down right away in the center of the map. A lot of these lings being picked off as well. He is going to win the fight for this hatchery, so ByuN is going to get it while winning fights elsewhere. And at the moment, it feels like ByuN's multitasking is, really shining. Really feels like it's coming through at the moment. As our Marines continue to push on forward, creep tumors are continuing to go down. On the bottom side, this queen gets shut down as well. The rest of the Ling Bane all setting up. Banelings continuing to morph on in. And again, our Marine tank force now down on the bottom side at the moment here as we're going to be seeing a scan coming through. The Marines are going to get rid of extra creep tumors. There goes our flock of mutas through the top side. Going to aim for this orbital command. I mean, there is a single missile turret there that's going to get picked away pretty quickly. SCVs are trying to repair it. It's not in a good position to be repaired, that missile turret, because you can't get a full surround. But I understand why he wants it on this side, because that's where the mutas typically will fly in from. So you kind of want that position. And this is a really fascinating scenario that's developing, because we're really playing kind of like a line defense all the way around here and down to here. And the units are just moving up and down that direction just to respond to where Solar's trying to break on through next. So it's been kind of consistent for a while. Still Marines protecting tanks on the high ground as now ByuN moves into Thors. He's swapped into Widow Mines. And he really has the setup to fight Ling Bane Muta, which is the impressive part of it, right? He's not gotten hung up on siege tanks or anything. Oh, depots were down though, so he is going to have some issues defending over here. Banelings are going to get rid of all the mines before they are able to fire. That's a massive win for Solar as he continues on through. SCVs are in trouble as well. There is some defensive siege tanks around the back as we do see Marines are going to catch all of these new Banelings though on the right side. And ByuN is going to push Solar back. Mutalisk goes down. Everything else joining up together here. These Marines all joining up and... oh no, the mutas! Solar's looking elsewhere. The mutalisks are going down. Mistakes are made. Solar loses a lot of mutas, just as you could maybe argue that a lot of this was going to be okay. 23 SCVs lost. There wasn't any lost before now, so that's the first SCVs of the game, and 20 plus going down. ByuN takes a huge hit to the economy, but his army supply is up massively. Sorry for the lack of game hard, guys. Apparently they hosted without any game hard mod this time around, so apologies for that. Can't turn battle report on either. They didn't host with it, so apologies. Otherwise that would have been an interesting moment to look at it for sure, as Marines are going to make their way down this right side on the top. There's units in the center as well, going to get a bunch of creep here if there's nothing to defend. Well, the units to defend are on the top right, running in to defend this drop. So now ByuN's going to get access down the bottom side. He's cleaning up creep, he's getting queens. Actually didn't clean up as much creep as he should have done here. Mutas will help to get rid of the Marines top right, but he actually is going to lose a muta or two. These Marines all going to stim in now into this natural. Queen's going down. This hatchery is going to start falling. All of these drones are being picked away at. I mean, ByuN's going to sit here and he probably has to trade it out and fight it out. Drops a few Marines over here. They're actually going to do okay against mutas. And as he does actually load up because the mutas are elsewhere, he can get away with it. So Because the mid-is clean up here, he's actually able to evacuate some of the Marines as well. And ByuN, obviously having killed the natural expansion, continues to be in a commanding position. He's going to drop back into the main base. And this is ByuN just suddenly everywhere on the map. Absolutely zero chill. And Solo's going to give it up right then and there, as ByuN has too much. And he will tie this series 1-1 in the best of 3. And as we will start in the upper left-hand side with the blue Zerg player. Had a really good opening in game 1 to set him on the right track, but fell apart to the multi-prong attacks in that last game. It is Solo in the upper left. Taking on in the bottom right, the red Terran player. This is ByuN. Third and final map of this series. Down. Some chatter here to start this one off as maybe Maddox will tell us what they are saying. You're not just gonna type lol Maddox and laugh at what they're saying and not tell us what they're saying, are you? Maddox. No. Well, ByuN just says bye. They can't stop memeing themselves. Apparently, I mean, I don't know what that means, but I'll take it. Why not? Not much happening in terms of the build orders early. It's kind of as you would expect for the early stages here. Nothing really too out of the ordinary. Couple queens on the way. ByuN is gonna go for the starport this time around, so it's not gonna be as we've been seeing previously. It's gonna be a little bit different. It's not gonna be that 2-on-1 build order. So nice time to change it up, I think, after you've done it twice in a row. First time it didn't really go to plan. Second time you got to play your game with it. I think third map now, not a bad time to switch it up. I know ByuN, I mean, he's building another Marine. Oftentimes when ByuN does this, he actually is quite fond of the Hellbat attacks, so maybe that's something he will look at to try and switch this up here. Couple Hellions, a few Marines all coming through. As you just have the Overlord heading down the right. Armory is on the way, so there's the Hellbat setting up. Kind of, like I say, not really too surprising. Especially when you keep building those Marines, it just leads into this. Well, is one of the earlier Hellbat attacks. Now, there is an Overlord flying in. Overlord does not see anything yet. So all the Overlord sees so far is that the starport is building a reactor. Or it actually sees it's building a tech lab. So actually, you don't get that much info. The Ling sees the Hellions moving out, though. Solo's making more Lings, 2 more Queens. He is rallying to the front, but no Spine Crawler or anything. And now he sets up the Spine. I feel like that could have been a little bit sooner. Usually it's the priority when you see this kind of setup starting to happen. So here we go. Hellions wolfing into Hellbats, and good damage from the Queens. 3 Queens already bringing the first medevac just down to half HP. I mean, that's some fantastic, because anytime the medevac goes down, that's just energy wasted. That energy that could have been healing on these Hellbats, right? More longevity of this attack. I honestly think this is going to be a pretty reasonable hold from Solo. He loses the Queen now, and the Hellbats will actually take a bit of a different direction. Spine Crawler starting to burrow up. The Hellbats actually actually going to go through. If they get a couple more queens and a few more lings on top of this, what's kind of fun is they're going to end up working their way past the spine crawler here in the end. So they don't actually have to worry about that so much in the end of this. I mean, it's kind of funny how that plays out, I suppose. As lings and a couple of queens just setting up at the front. Banelin Nest will go down. And we do see Banshee and Cloak also on the way through. So getting into the Cloak Banshee follow-up here from ByuN. I kind of like it. You look at what's lost here, right? 8 Hellbats and 3 Marines, but you kill 4 Queens and 31 Lings. Resources lost is kind of even-ish. A little bit ByuN favored. This Banshee kind of just shown up too soon, by the way. He was kind of eager to get in, and to be fair, there weren't spores ready, but he didn't have Cloak yet. So we'll Cloak up now, and we'll sit around for a couple more shots. Only got 2 of the drones there. A few of the drones going low as well. Banshee into the main. Gonna get a drone also. A few Hellbats just at the front. So again, ByuN continuing the pressure. Will not let this up just yet. And we'll keep the action rolling with the Hellbats. Now going to have a second Banshee on the way to support them here in just a few moments' time. Actually going to start getting through a couple of these drones as well, so some progress there. This is the problem with ByuN. He's just so good. He will find openings, and even a couple of Banelings actually really decent connections, but that flies too far forwards. Not paying attention at the wrong moment, and somehow it stays alive. I mean, that's just incredible. That is whole new levels of fortune from ByuN. I feel like that's that's really not meant to happen. The other Banshee, I believe, did go down, though, so the one in the main base or so has fallen. Now that's going to come back up. And going to get a cancel on the hatchery. How about down the left? Melee upgrades, Bane speed coming through. We do have the Banshee cloaked up and just sitting out of range of a spore. So trying to push out some extra damage where possible. So ByuN has a good upgrade lead here. Solar is on to fairly quick Mutalisks. It's not a good time to build in the Mutas though, unfortunately, because ByuN's about to arrive. He's missing combat shields, and hopefully that's something he remembers to start building, else he might be in a little bit of trouble sooner than he would like to be. That is a little bit terrifying as we set up here. This army still moving up the left. So making its way in and just going to be getting the tank siege. Now the Mutas, what can they really add to this? The problem is the Bane speed isn't doing either, so you've got to try and buy some time. But if this 4th base goes down, the production you lose because of that is massive. And that's why you're just going to see Solo committing into this. The Banelings go off on a Hellbat or 2 at the front. I don't know if that's enough. It looks like it will be. The Mutas actually do become a little bit overpowering towards the later stages of this as we drop into the main base, but will not do overly crazy things over here. That is going to be a cleanup from Solo. Good defense in the end. That was a very stressful moment because it's very easy for that to go very wrong very quickly, right? I think it's very easy for things to go wrong in that moment, in that position. But he held his own. He did what he needed to do, moved in at the right time. And he really just made the right play. Good effort out of Sola. How many Zergs do we see just die at this point in the game to ByuN because they lose their 4th base, and the moment they've lost their 4th base, everything else falls apart, right? Like, it happens all the freaking time. Marines stimming in, and Creep Team is going down. Banelings are going to finish morphing on this left side in a moment or two. The Banes being picked away at. Oh, don't tell me Solo's going to have trouble on the follow-up. He's morphing so many Banes that aren't quite ready. He is going to lose this hatchery, isn't he? He's not going to play for the defense. Oh my god, the reinforcements of ByuN are going to get the job done. Now Muta's up to the top side. Banshee backs away. At the end of the day, he's actually going to be able to grab this. Well, Bane's morphing from Solar out toward the center here. Marines, tank setting up as well. Queenling Bane going to start running through. Marines are going to start stir stepping back. The tank fire Good to get onto the first few Marines here. Medevac's loading up and continuing to run out to the left-hand side. The mutas are going to catch this, though, and ByuN's going to start losing a lot. He will unload low ground. That should stop the mutas, but yeah, ByuN's supply is definitely taking hits. He's on his way to a fourth base. Another factory coming through. He is dropping top right, though, and that's the fourth base of Solar. So that was the replacement hatchery, and it was looking okay that maybe he had a replacement, but now it's cancelled. Now Solar is on 3 bases, so just as ByuN starts to lose a lot, he kind of makes up for it. 2-2 against 1-1 upgrade, so if any fights happen, ByuN probably going to be the favorite player as well. Okay, well, Solar is going to start moving down. Oh, these Marines. The position isn't terrible. He's actually going to get rid of multiple mutas. Well, I almost want to say that's not so bad. He got rid of so many mutas there because they dove in and the target fire was just on top of them. Been moving around. Infestation bit about halfway done. Melee upgrades 2-2. About to finish up as a 3-3 is on the way from ByuN. Here's all going to grab one of the medevacs here. The other medevac is going to get picked off as well. So cleanup from Solar. He's been very good at cleaning up units, and that's kind of ByuN's problem, is that Solar keeps cleaning him out. And now that Solar double expands and doesn't get punished for it, maybe this becomes a little bit problematic. Mutas down the right side. Marines, Thor mixed in. The mutas obviously going to start diving around the base and creating more chaos. And I love this. Just targeting down this setup, this line, just making some space here. Giving access points for run-bys to move on through. He's coming up the top. Marines going through. Overlord goes down. Army on the left side moving out as well. We do see the mutas are going to continue out back down this bottom side. So looking to make a play back down here. Missile turret putting some work in on the mutas, which are just going to come in. I mean, problem is the army of ByuN's on the map, so it's not really here to defend. The mutas, yeah, I was going to say, don't actually want to be that way. If they go out this way, they're going to run into this Thor, which they're going to die for. I mean, if they go for it, medevac saves it. Nice save. And actually gets a muta or so out of it as well, so that works out wonderfully. As now we've got some Marine Marauder making its way around this right-hand side. So away we go. ByuN on another push to try and find some value here. Going to get a Mutalisk up in the skies. The Muta's trying to push forward on the bottom side. Not going to find much just yet. I mean, this is a huge counterattack, but honestly, there's units left behind to deal with this. Thor, a good amount of bio. What makes this scary from Solar is now, for ByuN maybe actually, is that now Solar can actually pull back and just fully focus on this right side force, because he knows, Solar, that there's so much at home for ByuN, that the right answer is to fight over here. Wouldn't actually do a good job initially. They get a lot of good shots off on the Ling Bane, and good clumps of Ling Bane as well. Now ByuN gets away with some of these units and actually gets to reinforcements. ByuN with the 3-3 upgrades, able to trade well there and push that back. As two medevacs will load up. They're going to pull away to the right-hand side. The rest of the Ling Bane gathering in the center. And the rest of the army coming up. On the left to try and see what else is going on. Bit of Ling Bane muted from Solo, continuing to get ready to go. We do see the bio pressing forwards. Things are going to roll on into this. The couple of Marauders going down. The Marines are going to have to get on out of there. That fight wasn't looking so pretty. ByuN is on a good army supply lead, but obviously he's on a drone deficit, so that's part of the problem. He's going to run up here. Well, maybe not a drone deficit for long, because those drones are in some trouble if I've ever seen drones in trouble. Wow, and now a few Marines here just going to trade out for mutas as well. It's not a great trade. Some of the Marines got killed in medevacs, but Yeah, this is good as well. You're gonna get this hatchery. Oh, he's not gonna get the hatch, is he? But he's gonna get a Widow Mine shot that hits dead center on the Ling Bane. ByuN baited the units back into that. Honestly, this wasn't bad for Solar. He saved a lot of the drones I was just expecting to die. And the hatchery that probably should have died as well in reality. So Solar actually escapes from a difficult position in kind of spectacular fashion. Now, Ultra's on the field. As the Meteorists are going to go in, they're going to see the couple of medevacs are going to clean out. So the medevacs will go down and ByuN will continue up the left-hand side. So away we go to try and put a bit more pressure on the left side of this here. Now, 3-3 upgrades are about to be done from Solar, so he'll finally be caught up in that regard at least. With the Ultras on the field, powering up his army as well, definitely helping too. Leading the charge, ByuN going to start pulling back. The Banes continue to move through. Let's land the Marauder's tank up there. Widow Mine actually cleans up the Bane. The Bane force, but the issue from there is the Widow Mines actually get the Lings as well. The issue from there is that you only have Marines left against the Ultras. Third base has to be evacuated, and ByuN actually might just lose this command center. He'll put the SCVs onto repairs. He stims some Marines through, and they will save the day. He's still being chased back by the Ultras as well. Solar actually getting an army supply lead for the first time in a while. And now he's going to get some depots too, so putting ByuN in trouble over on the right-hand side. What a game so far. 25 to 23.5k resources lost. The problem is Solar now is getting a bit too much money in the game. That's the issue we're starting to walk on into here. It is up in the sky. Ling Bane Ultra going to go through to the right, and on the left side, Marine Marauder coming up as well, stimming through, and a couple of Banes already being caught. As ByuN focuses on the left side, Solar strikes on the right again, and the issue is with every one of these attacks, ByuN is losing more economy, right? An economy that's not going to be easily rebuilt in these scenarios. An economy which Solar doesn't have to worry about because he's keeping ByuN back. The momentum is gone. And so all of Solar's bases just keep on expanding. I mean, he's coming over here. He's got drones everywhere. He's got all of his bases in full use. And I was just going to see how Marine Marauder still setting up. Queen goes down. That's the Ling Bane Ultra still coming down. Widow Mines, the Bio, and trying to defend again. Solar's doing a good job of just splitting this up left and right side. If ByuN can hold 5 bases, maybe there's going to be some hope for him. But again, there's too many Banes on this right side, and holding 5 bases doesn't really include losing your third base, right? Like, yeah, you might hold the bottom left. That's not even great because now you're only on 2 orbitals, which is obviously far, far, far from ideal. Bane's still connected in, damage still being done across the board. I'm going to see the mutas diving in, going in for the couple of missile turrets. They're cleaning up this a little bit as well. Turrets continue to do some damage. Widow Mine's going to unburrow and reburrow a bit over to the left-hand side. And this Bioforce is going to go to try and make one last-ditch effort across the other side of the map, but it feels like it's lacking. Widow Mines will need some amazing connections here to trade. So even if you win this fight and you take down this base, what about the right side of the map? You've got nothing to put over there. Solar's already counterattacking too. He's going to shut down reinforcements. So unless ByuN can find a good trade on the left and on the right, I'm really not a believer. The trade on the right is looking pretty decent, to be fair. And the trade on the left started in the right way as well. Now Banelin's crashing into Marauders. He's just going to run out of units before he can do anything meaningful. You know, units are going to stream in defensively, and over on this side, the mutas are just going to jump on top of production. Solar has too much, and ByuN will be held off in the round of 8. Solar will go through to the qualifying match against either Innovation or Zaun on the bottom side of the brackets. As everything getting cleaned out, and there's only about 100 supply difference. GG, Solar's going to take it. A 20-minute game on Death Aura came down to the wire, but Solar closes out and gets through to the qualifying.